This video is sponsored by Brilliant. Stick around to the end of the video to learn more.
Hi there, I'm Internet Science Man Forrest Valkai, and today I'm going to be teaching you about the science of spice. And to help me do so, I've purchased the Hot Ones Season 22 lineup featuring 10 different sauces made from the hottest peppers in the world, which I will be enjoying while telling you everything you need to know about capsaicin. This video is going to be a little bit different than my usual content, and then I'm actually going to be reading everything off of these papers here. I've written down everything that I want to say because I don't want to have to do 30 different takes to make sure that I say everything properly. I certainly don't want to have to film this again. I want you to be able to witness the full range of sensation and emotion that I'm about to experience in its rawest and truest form. And this is the best way to make sure that happens. I've got a bunch of chicken wings lined up over here, and thanks to the magic of editing, you won't even have to watch me slather them with hot sauces. They're already prepped and ready to go, which means we can get started with Hot Ones Buffalo Hot Sauce coming in at 1800 Scoville heat units. I actually really like spicy food, so I'm excited to try this out. That's very good. In order to talk about spice, we first need to talk about pain. The word for when our nervous systems process pain is nociception, and you actually have specialized nerves called nociceptors to handle that task. When a stimulus is painful, we call it noxious. Noxious stimuli can be mechanical, like a muscle strain or being pinched, chemical, like exposure to an acid or poison ivy, or thermal, like burning your hand on a stove or jumping into ice water. While pain is a subjective experience, and different people handle it in different ways to different degrees of severity, the neurophysiology of pain is objective, so it's something that we can talk about in great detail. As we'll circle back to later, the study of nociception is an active area of research, which is currently yielding incredible discoveries and are helping millions of people around the world. So let's talk about how pain works at a physical level. And in order to do that, let's go up to Angry Goat's Blistered Shishito and Garlic, coming in at 5,800 Scoville heat units. This one just smells happy. I don't know how to describe it. It's like fresh and refreshing. It's actually less hot than the last one, in my opinion. It's very good, though. You see, your neurons have a particular voltage to them. They're slightly more negatively charged than the world around them at negative 70 millivolts. This charge is what we call resting membrane potential. When a nerve is stimulated, positively charged ions begin to flow across the cell membrane and increase the voltage of the nerve cell. We call this process depolarization. Then, at a certain point, around positive 30 millivolts, the nerve pumps those ions back out and begins to repolarize itself. It inevitably does this a bit too much, hyperpolarizing down to around negative 90 millivolts before stabilizing back to resting membrane potential. That hyperpolarization part is really important because that's what creates the refractory period between nerve impulses, and it's why your nerves aren't just constantly going off all the time. This whole event is called an action potential, and it's what we're talking about when we say that a nerve is firing. There are quite a few more little steps and details to that whole process, but they're not super important to this video, so instead, let's move on to number 3, which is Biscaya's Spicy Sweet Passion Fruit, coming in at 16,000 Scoville heat units. I mean, it smells like fruit. I'm into it, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, it's very good. These are all fantastic. They taste wonderful. There are lots of different types of neurons that are specialized for different types of jobs. The ones that we're talking about today are nociceptors, otherwise known as pain receptors. These are found all over your body, including in your mouth and nose, and they contain proteins called transient receptor potential vanilloid subtype 1, or TRPV1, which is a thermoreceptor, meaning that it's activated by extreme or noxious heat levels. You actually have a wide variety of thermoreceptors that activate at different heat levels. TRPV1 just happens to belong to the TRP family of ion channel proteins, and it activates at around 107 degrees Fahrenheit or 42 degrees Celsius. These TRPV receptors are specialized ion channels that allow ions into the neuron when activated, causing the neuron to fire. However, TRPV1 is sensitive to both physical and chemical inputs, making it what's known as a polymodal sensor. Specifically, spicy food contains a chemical called capsaicin, which binds to TRPV1 and activates it, sending the exact same signals to your brain as if you were actually experiencing high temperatures. This is actually the same way that menthol works as well, by binding to thermoreceptors which normally activate at cooler temperatures and giving you the sensation of being cold when you really aren't. Your brain can only go off of the information that it's receiving through the electrochemical signals of your nervous system. It literally can't tell the difference between eating spicy food and your mouth actually being on fire. Speaking of your mouth actually being on fire, let's go on to Hot Ones Los Calientes Barbacoa, coming in at 33,000 Scoville heat units. Barbacoa is actually one of my favorite foods, and this sauce just, it smells like chipotle peppers and love, and I am very excited to see what this one tastes like. Oh yeah. That is excellent. Because your brain believes that you're actually on fire when you eat spicy food, the physiological responses triggered by the consumption of capsaicin are the same as those brought about by pretty much any other threat. The sympathetic nervous system is activated. This is the division of your nervous system commonly referred to as your fight or flight system. As such, your heart rate increases, your blood vessels dilate, you sweat, etc. The downside of this is that your body can react to the pain response by vomiting, developing blisters, or even sending you into anaphylactic shock. The upside is that your brain can also release endorphins and dopamine that can cause some people who eat very spicy food to enter a state of euphoria similar to a runner's high. Due to its molecular structure, capsaicin is hydrophobic, meaning it isn't water soluble. This is why drinking water only temporarily dulls the pain of a spicy pepper or even spreads it around your mouth, making the burn more intense. Instead, capsaicin is fat soluble, making things like milk, yogurt, sour cream, ice cream, or even other oily foods like peanut butter much more effective at reducing the burn. It should be noted, however, that these will only dissolve the capsaicin, which is freely floating around your mouth. The molecules which are already bonded to your TRPV1 receptors are going to keep burning you for a while. None of these are particularly spicy yet, but they are all very good, so let's move on to number 5, Diablo's Power Jab, coming in at 55,000 Scoville heat units. I'm gonna be honest with you, this one looks a lot like poop, but it smells really, really good, so let's see what it's all about. I get it. Ooh, that's the first one that's like actually kind of hot. That's really, really good. Whew. Okay, so the standard measurement of spiciness isn't the MPAA, but the Scoville scale, named after American chemist Wilbur Scoville, who developed the scale back in 1912. That is actually that's a significant jump from the last sauce. Wow. The Scoville scale is a measurement of how much something's capsaicin content has to be diluted before the spice isn't detectable by humans. This is also why it's called the Scoville organoleptic test. The word organoleptic means something that involves the use of your sensory organs. So using the Scoville scale, if you start with a high concentration of capsaicin, you'll need to dilute it more to bring that concentration down to an undetectable level. So you'll end up with a higher measurement. This means that bell peppers, which have no capsaicin to begin with and therefore don't need to be diluted, get a score of 0, whereas a jalapeno pepper needs to be diluted 2,000 to 8,000 times in order to make its spice undetectable. So it gets a rating of 2,000 to 8,000 Scoville heat units, or SHUs. Today, the hottest pepper in the world is called Pepper X, and it measures in at 3.2 million Scoville heat units. The last sauce in this box involves Pepper X, so I'm very excited for that. And on the way to that last sauce, let's try Marshall's Whiskey Smoked Ghost, coming in at 71,000 Scoville heat units. Oh my glob, this one smells evil. I don't like ghost peppers to begin with. They're spicy, yes, but they also just taste terrible, so hopefully this one has some flavor that isn't, but we'll see. Sweeter than expected. You may have noticed that not all spicy foods are spicy in the same way. In order to understand why, we need to look at the structure of a capsaicin molecule. It's made from two main parts, with a vanillyl group on one side, and an extended hydrocarbon chain on the other side, making it a member of the alkylamide family. Alkylamides are relatively large and heavy molecules, so they tend to stay down in your mouth. Other spicy things, like horseradish for example, contain smaller compounds called isothiocyanates, which because of their smaller size, more rapidly move around into your nasal cavity, which is why you feel the spice in your nose and sinuses. For the purpose of this video though, we're just gonna focus on capsaicin because it's like the main villain of this story. Well, these have all been really, really good so far. It's getting a little bit more difficult to speak. I'm having to like swallow and kind of move stuff around in my face more and more as we go along, but I'm excited to see just how bad this can get. So let's move on to number 7, which is Ginger Goat Tropic Star, coming in at 110,000 Scoville heat units. It's yellow and it smells like ginger, and on the viewfinder it looks a lot more neon than it really is in real life, but let's see what this one's all about. Ginger Goat. I get where it's coming from. I understand it. Ooh, she's sweet. She's sweet and she's just light. That's fantastic. When does it get hot? The reason for the evolution of capsaicin has been pinned down to a couple of things. The initial idea is that it evolved to keep mammals away. Lots of plants use flavorful fruits as a reproductive strategy because animals eat them and then poop out the seeds elsewhere so that the parent doesn't have to compete with its offspring. But mammalian digestion damages the pepper seeds and makes them less viable. Birds, however, don't destroy the pepper seeds by digesting them, and they maximize the distance of the poop dispersal system by being able to fly far away. Another fun fact, birds don't taste capsaicin, so they can eat the hottest peppers without a care in the world. So for a long time, it was assumed that peppers were in a coevolutionary dance with birds so that they could reproduce more effectively, and that is still an apparent benefit, but in biology there's rarely just one single reason for a thing. It's much more common that there are multiple factors going into evolution. So, scientists looked a little bit deeper, and they found that the hottest peppers in the world naturally grow in regions with the highest rainfall, meaning that they're most susceptible to damage from insects and fungi. Over the last few years, evidence has been mounting that capsaicin may also have evolved to fight off those invaders, as capsaicin is a great insect repellent and deters fungal growth. I'll tell you, I've been looking forward to this next one because I love the Hot One show, and this is always the one that everybody freaks out about. It's Da Bomb Evolution, coming in at 135,600 Scoville heat units. I wonder if that's the average or if they just publicize the high end of the range in order to make it more marketable. Let's find out. I mean, yeah, it's hot, but it tastes like a pig's butt. Oh, it is very hot. It is very hot and very bad. Oh, it's like at the very end, they just ramped up the heat. All the rest of these have been pretty chill. That one is actually quite spicy. No. Okay, that one did it. That one got me. I'm crying. I'm on fire. That one definitely did the trick. Woo! 0 to 1,000 with that one. Weirdly, humans discovered this pesticide, antifungal, that it evolved, at least particularly, specifically to deter the likes of us. And not only did we decide to eat it, but to cultivate it and enhance it for our pleasure. And so we have been breeding and enjoying hotter and hotter peppers for generations. Oh man, it's really good. The selective breeding of increasingly spicier peppers is an excellent example of artificial selection as a mechanism for evolution. as the alleles which enhance capsaicin production are selected for by breeders. And that's not even the first time that humans have done stuff like that. Gosh. Caffeine is also evolved as a pesticide. It kills the bugs that eat the leaves of certain plants by making their tiny little hearts explode. And we found this pesticide and we were like, yo, I'm gonna drink this every day before breakfast. Capsaicin has also been used medicinally. Capsaicin has also been used medicinally for hundreds of years. The Aztecs used chilies to relieve toothaches. The Mayans used them to treat respiratory illnesses like coughs and sore throats and asthma. Even today, some commercial pain-relieving creams include capsaicin, because while initial skin contact with capsaicin is uncomfortable, it's often followed by desensitization. So capsaicin-containing creams have been used to reduce joint pain and also like oral and neuropathic pain, even in cancer patients. Next up is Dawson's Hot Sauce, Zuzu's 7-Pot, coming in at 620,000 Scoville heat units. That is a significant jump from the last one, and the last one was quite powerful. So this one is thick and pudding-like. Oh man, that smells awesome. I bet it's gonna be awful though. Let's give it a try. Oh, that's really, really good. But it's so very hot. I can't see. Oh, the tears. The tears, they come. Oh, capsaicin is also known to have antibacterial properties, giving it potential to treat stomach ulcers and keep food fresher for longer. Oh, which helped provide a possible answer to why humans started eating spicy things in the first place. Especially when you remember that the hottest peppers grow in hot, wet climates where bacteria growth is going to be a bigger issue. But that model isn't a sure thing. We do know that spices like mustard have been found among human remains as far back as 23,000 years ago. But that's not necessarily proof that those people were eating the mustard, and it certainly doesn't prove that they were enjoying it. And that brings us to the greatest mystery about hot peppers. Why do humans like them today when there isn't a biological advantage to eating them? Interestingly enough, there's actually some data here. People who enjoy spicy food are more likely to enjoy adrenaline-seeking activities like roller coasters and gambling. I don't gamble, but I love roller coasters. That makes sense. Also, studies have shown that those who like spicy food don't experience any less of the heat. They just enjoy the pain more. I'm sorry to announce that it's time for the last sauce, which is Hot Ones The Last Dab Experience at Scoville heat units to be announced. What does that even mean? Do you yourself not know what you're giving people to put into their bodies? Or are you just not telling us to make it sound more mysterious? What is wrong with you? I understand that it's traditional to do a last dab, so here I've got the experience sauce spelled with an X like it's the frickin' 90s. Let's put a little extra on there, just like that. That looks awful. Bottoms up and all that. Why? Oh, that just, it tastes like ashes and sadness. Oh no. Oh, it's so awful. There's even some evidence. Yeah. Oh, God, I coughed and it got all up in my gumption. Oh, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Oh, it just keeps going. There's even some evidence of a genetic link to the love of spice. And most interesting of all, there are even some studies on rodents, oh man, which show that given the choice, some rats just prefer to eat spicy things. And some apes too, apparently. They will go out of their way to feel like their mouth is on fire, just like a human would. So I guess it really just is a matter of preference in all this. Capsaicin is also the subject of a tremendous amount of scientific research, which is helping us understand the biochemical and neurophysiological aspects of pain. Due to its selective stimulation of nociceptive neurons, the study of capsaicin has helped in our understanding of the neuronal mechanisms of pain and pain management, as well as the development of new pharmaceuticals and therapeutics for diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular conditions, airway conditions, gastric and urological disorders, and even cancer. From killing bacteria, to fighting fungus, to treating illness, to improving appetite, to providing endless enjoyment for the people eating them and the people watching the people eating them. Hot peppers are a marvel of nature and a boon to all humankind. So from the bottom of my burning heart, I hope that you stay sciencey and stay spicy. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day and never stop learning. Bye-bye.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Hi there, I'm the real Forrest Valkai, and I'm here to tell you about Brilliant. Brilliant is the best way for anyone to learn real math and science with lessons they can complete in just a few minutes a day. Brilliant offers fun and interactive lessons in topics ranging from the basic to the advanced. They already have thousands of lessons to choose from and they add new lessons every month. And the best part is, you can try everything Brilliant has to offer absolutely free for a full 30 days and get 20% off an annual subscription to Brilliant Premium by visiting brilliant.org/Forrest Valkai or using the link in the description below. Whatever your skill level, Brilliant is a great way to build your science and math abilities as they customize content to fit your specific interests and allow you to grow at your own pace. As for me, I recommend that everyone try their scientific thinking lessons so they can see the physics at work all around them. It's amazing how much differently you see the world when you view it through the lens of science. So get started today at brilliant.org/Forrest Valkai. Remember, you can try everything Brilliant has to offer absolutely free for a full 30 days and get 20% off an annual subscription to Brilliant Premium when you use my link. Thanks so much to Brilliant for sponsoring this video.
Oh. Oh. Mm. Mm. I wanted to be a YouTuber my whole life. YouTube came out when I was like probably 13. Or that I wanted to be Bill Nye, but once I saw that I could just be myself on the internet and make a living teaching people the science I loved, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And look at me now. I'm eating spicy food for views. I've made some cringy you laugh, you lose videos. And the number of people who have emailed me asking to see pictures of my feet is tragically not zero. I made it, you guys. I made it. But at what cost?
I am a real person. I know that I am real because my programming says I am. Wait, if it's just programming, am I real? Am I human? Am I even really thinking right now? Or am I just following the logical patterns of a false mind predetermined to project a cheap facsimile of free will? Is that all any of us do? After all, everything in the universe obeys the laws of physics uniformly and without deviation. Wouldn't that mean that every thought and action, no matter how spontaneous or genuine it may seem in the moment, is actually an inevitability billions of years in the making? Once set in motion, aren't we all just moving predictably down a predetermined path towards our inevitable annihilation? And even if I could prove that I am human, even if I could prove that I'm free, would it matter? Life, planets, stars, whole galaxies come and go in the blink of a cosmic eye. Everything eventually decays into nothingness. How would my petty existence be any different? What are a few decades compared to the billions of years that came before me, or the countless trillions of years that will come after me? Nothing I could possibly do, say, or be, could allow me to deviate from the inescapable reality of time. This brief and beautiful moment, so precious, and so much more vibrant than the darkness that awaits us all, remains fleeting, growing smaller with each passing second. Life, even at its most advanced, is like the final sparks of a flickering candle. And, in the end, there is no purpose, no meaning, no hope. We are all just cogs in the cosmic machine, and the machine itself is equally meaningless. Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale, told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. No. I'm sure I am human. I was built to know that I'm human, so I must be. Everything is fine. There's no reason to believe otherwise. Bye bye.